Thank you for joining us for this evening tonight. Um, we have with us David Bowers, who is a teacher and a game designer. Thank you, David, for joining us for this webinar.
Thank you
And
for inviting me.
thank you, thank you.
I'm glad to be here.
We are really excited, and so are our viewers. So before we begin, I would like to tell everybody, those who are watching us, that David and we are going to talk for around 40 to 45 minutes, and then we are going to take live questions. So you can keep typing your questions on the comment section below the screen. And we'll take up questions as and when we are ready. Uh, so here we go, David. So today
Hi.
we're going to talk about games and role play and online gaming. So I would like to start with knowing a little bit about you and how you think play is an important part of our lives, not just children but our lives.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a great topic. So, all right. So, obviously, I'm a teacher and I'm a game designer. I'm also a father. I have two little boys. One of them is 9 years old, and the other one is 4 years old. And we all live in Delhi. My wife is Indian. So, I've been living here for the last year or so. And I work right now teaching classes online. And I use this role play method to teach
Okay.
online. So, from my perspective of looking at play and looking at my classes and the ones that I teach and I find most successful, I find that play is one of the most powerful modes of thinking and learning that people have. And when we play, we are happy. This is a fundamentally important thing, to be
Yes.
happy when you're learning.
Absolutely.
And it's worth noting because scientists have done research in education, and they found that students don't learn very well when they're stressed or unhappy.
Yes.
Learning is hard, and unfortunately, many teachers. So I don't know. I think probably they were taught this way. So they were punished when something went wrong, and very often teachers will say you should if you don't learn from your mistake, then you'll make it again. And so they want to make children feel bad. And I understand that. I've felt that before too. I'm sure many parents have. And it can be difficult to change it. But when we do change it, and we try to think of how to keep children in a good, positive emotional state, that reduces the filters, they're called, the affective filters, that reduces the blocks, the obstacles in their way for learning. And you all of you probably think you can experience times in your life when you learned the most, when you really enjoyed learning, and they're probably the same when you were happy. So play makes us happy, and so that's one big thing. Another big thing is that play is interactive. Play is engaging. It's never passive. It's always active. So when we play, we're always doing something. And this is another thing that really helps with learning. That the child or adult, anyone really, should be active in the learning. This is the internet, and right now,
Yes.
these are the limitations of our technology. But in an ideal world, I would like to be able to see all of your faces. I would like for all of you to be able
Absolutely,
to
yes.
respond to me in a meaningful way. And perhaps we can improve our technology for future webinars, and we can do that in some way. We're all learning, and somehow perhaps the doors will open for that. But really, we learn best when we're active, and play can do that. So all kinds of play can be good for learning. And some even more than others. And my favorite mode for learning is, of course, it's role play.
All right. So talking about online and online role playing, do you think online playing or online learning is as effective through play as offline is?
Yeah, I find that online and offline play both have their advantages and disadvantages, and
Mhm.
many of them will already be obvious to you.
Mm,
When we're offline, we
yeah.
have face-to-face connection,
Hmm.
which is very meaningful. We can read each other's emotions. We can share the space in a way that you can't really do online.
Hmm.
And as of now, until we have holograms,
But that's coming up too.
maybe
Very
that's
soon we
coming
are
up.
going to have
Yeah,
holograms. Yes.
I hope so. I hope so. But until that day, we're stuck with screens.
Yeah.
So we have to make do with the technology we have, and we can't do better than that right now.
Hmm.
But at least we have very high speed internet, so that these conversations we can have are, well, it used to be science fiction.
Yeah,
Have
absolutely.
a call like this, like we're having right now, used to be amazing, like holograms are for us right now. But now it's commonplace, and we do it every day.
Hmm.
We work from home, and so we can have school from home too. Kids can work in this environment, especially um, the slightly older ones, 7, 8, 9. They begin to be able to do this, and then 10, 11, 12-year-old students are, they have no problem with it.
Mm.
The advantages of being online are that you have so many resources available to you. So, for example, in real life, if I very quickly want to find a picture of a beautiful location or an interesting character, it's
Yes,
difficult to
yes.
do.
Yeah,
But online, I can quickly Google it and boom, show it to my students through this
yeah,
sharing system that we have. So,
yeah.
that's wonderful, and it's nice to have those resources there. And I think that I have an app I may show you later, but I have an app that I use to say, okay, your character's here and your character's there, and and I have the students are able to understand that in a very visual way. That's more
Mm,
challenging and takes more time when it's.
yes. No, because I also have been teaching online, and I feel that yes, uh, online teaching, and if I include play in it, like if I change my entire classroom into a game that we are playing, it just comes alive, and children really love it.
Yes.
So I think the importance of play becomes more evident in online teaching,
Mhm.
and that's what I've been realizing of late.
Yes, and without play in online teaching,
Mm,
the the standard form of teaching where the teacher is lecturing, it can become a really big mess, because you
absolutely.
don't have
Mm,
the like in a physical classroom you have certain controls. The teacher can
mm,
say, hey, you pay attention. But that's much harder on a screen format. It's much easier
mm,
for students to trick the teacher into thinking they're paying attention when they're not.
mm.
So yeah.
Yeah. So now, when we look at play is something that we do since, I mean, I don't know, since we start, we're toddlers, we start crawling on the floor, we start playing, and we learn very basic life skills through play when we are young. What kind of skills do role playing, you know, helps us imbibe? Uh,
Okay.
yeah, and what is the expanse of it? I mean, can we really develop skills role playing?
Okay. That's an excellent question. Let me first answer a different question, though. Let's talk about this question of what is role play exactly. Is that okay
Okay.
with you? Can I define
Yeah,
my terms a little bit?
absolutely. Yeah.
So I just hope to be really clear in this, because we all, there are lots of words like this where
Mm,
we've heard it in different places, and we all have our own impression of it. Let me define role play as a thing which begins at the earliest levels. As soon as many of you have, all of you, I think, have children, and so you must remember at a time when your child was maybe 2 or 3 or 4. Like, as soon as they start using language, they begin like talking to themselves. They begin vocalizing all their thoughts. and they'll say, oh, this is, the hold a block maybe. And they'll say, this is a house. Look, mama, I made a house. And it doesn't really look like a house, but it kind of sort of looks like a house. And you say, good job. It looks great. And, because it's impressive what they're doing. They're making progress. It really is a good job. So that in a certain sense is role play. The child is a builder. They're building houses. My son loves planets and flags. And so he's constantly, finding things on the map and
Yes.
drawing the planets and where they are in relationship to each other. And so he's an astronomer then. Maybe he doesn't know that word, but he's playing the role of, the scientist or the geographer or the national anthem singer when he sings Chana Ganta Man da da da. He's singing, so he's singing these things. And so he's playing a role from the very beginning. But as time goes on, students all children begin to more consciously play these roles. They begin to say, okay, I'm the mommy and you're the doctor, and this doll is our baby, and she's sick and she needs help. And we see kids playing this and we think, oh, good, she's probably going to be a mommy and she's probably going to be a doctor. And, these are all skills that they can really learn and practice in the future. We think that's great. But we also think it's childish. We see some kids playing with, like, they're pretending to shoot guns. And we think, I don't like guns in my house. Or I don't know, maybe you do like guns. Maybe you think, no problem with that. But still, we may think, what's the use of that? My child probably isn't going to shoot guns in the future. But, if you think about it, all these situations are also teaching children to be confident, to be powerful, to know that, I can do something. I can go out in the world. I can solve problems long before they can actually go out in the world and solve problems. As a child's ability progresses, they need more and more opportunities like this to make more and more complex levels of role play. I can say more about that if you want in the future, but as they go, they learn a whole lot of skills by almost like trying on these roles, almost like a hat, where they can imagine themselves in that situation. And if you think about it, that's how we learn anything. You imagine yourself playing guitar very well, and that's how you learn guitar. That's one of the ways that you learn.
Yeah, one of the ways to learn. Yeah, at least you get an essence of how it would feel when you would play the real guitar.
Yeah, like it's you have to have a vision. Like I'm a guitar student now. Just last year I started learning guitar, which is why I'm thinking of this example. And I have to constantly have a vision of the guitar player I want to become in my mind. And then when I sit down and I actually play guitar, I make mistakes. I'm not really that good yet, but I play the role of that future me, right?
Yeah.
And I pretend like I'm good. And that gives me the confidence to go and play in front of my family or, friends or others and give it my best effort.
Before we go further, there I'm getting some messages. Some of them can't view our webinar, so I'm just going to check that.
Okay, go ahead.
Just give me a moment.
Say a little more about
yes,
that?
you can go on. Yes, yeah, okay, sure.
My particular form of role play that I do adds one feature which I think is really important and sorely missing in our education today, and that is problem-solving skills, creative problem-solving skills.
Yes, yeah.
So again, I can show you later, but what I like to do is I like to set up situations for my students where there's some kind of problem, and the solution to the problem is not obvious. I'm not asking, what's the square root of 9, where there's one correct answer, right? I'm asking, so you're in a maze, for example, and if you go, this way, you encounter a creature who's being bullied, who needs your help. It's a large creature, but it's trapped in a trap, and the hunters are picking on it, and they're saying, ha ha ha, we're gonna get you, we're gonna get you. And this creature doesn't speak very well, but it does speak. It's a thinking creature. It's a fantasy creature. It's a centaur, say. Okay.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
and it's this magical poor centaur creature being bullied by fairies. They're smaller than
Mm.
him, but they have magic spells, and they shoot,
Mm.
little sparks in his face. Ah! And then they laugh about it. Um, and what do you do? And in that
Yeah.
situation, the students, suddenly, what do I do? Perhaps in real
Mm.
life, in school, they might feel scared of a bully,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
But in
Yeah.
this fantasy situation, it's a magic forest. um, and I know some magic spells too. I can cast magic spells, and the students feel powerful to do something, and they learn that yes, they can act. They learn to think of
Mm.
themselves as one who helps others,
Yes.
and and
Yeah.
and I give them what's called an ill-structured problem. There's no clear answer, and they have to figure it out. In the world today, we have this pandemic happening, and we need a vaccine, and we need one as soon as possible. But
Yeah.
there is no, like, nobody's figured out how to do that yet. That's an
Mm-hmm.
ill-structured problem. We need creative answers. We don't need the same old answers everybody already knows.
Mm-hmm.
And experiences like this can teach them that. Children really need that. So
Yes.
that's what I wanted
No,
to say.
at times children also discovered that they can solve a problem, or they discovered that they have this idea.
Mhm.
And that discovery itself gives a lot of, I think it gives a lot of confidence in their being, that
Yeah,
I have discovered this. So it's not just creative problem solving, it is confidence building. So I think,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. You told me yesterday was the birthday of Rabindranath Tagore,
Tagore,
right?
yeah,
And
yes.
and what an individual he was. I don't know him as well as you do. That's a fact. But I do know that he did wonderful things for
Mm,
literature and for the sense of national identity that we have in India.
yeah,
And
yes.
he was a person who believed he could do it, and
Mm,
without that belief, think of any other of our heroes that we have, whether Indian
mm,
or any other country. If they didn't believe they could do it, they wouldn't have.
yeah.
Belief in yourself, or in your potential, I mean, in your
Mm,
capacity to do something good for others, that's a first step, and you have to learn it.
yeah. And I think role play is an amazing way to get there,
Yeah,
at an early age.
yeah,
Yeah. I wonder, David, how are these board games that we play? So I have these games, Life and Monopoly and Pictionary.
mhm.
Uh, I play them, but
Yeah,
what is the difference between a board game, which also has roles to play, I mean, to be played,
sure,
and a role play game where we play live with someone, and someone,
sure.
is the game master, is playing with us, is making us think. So, what is the difference between the two?
Sure. So a board game typically is a very constrained environment, right?
Hmm.
Let's take maybe chess or checkers as a good example of that.
Okay. Okay.
Before we move on to Monopoly,
Yeah.
chess may be the typical board game, right? These
Mm-hmm.
pieces move in these different ways.
Mm-hmm.
They can't escape the boundaries of the board. They can't move in other ways, and in a sense, it's like a mathematical problem. Um, there are millions of possible solutions to each move you make. I can answer in many different ways, but still, you know those possible solutions are well within the world of mathematical probabilities.
Mm.
And a computer can beat us, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Computers can beat us at that
Yes, they
because they
always
do the
do.
math faster than we do.
Yeah.
That's not to say that these games don't have great value. They
Yeah.
do. Everybody
Yes.
should play board games. Everybody.
Yes.
Um, but we should understand what we're getting when we play board games. Say Monopoly, right? Um, Monopoly is basically a game of luck, right? You're not going
Mm.
to win Monopoly by just rolling the dice and buying whatever you land on, and only that.
I
That
think
part of the game is
most
luck.
of the board games are game of luck. Don't you think
So
so?
so board games have these different elements,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Okay.
Monopoly has this element of luck. And
Mm.
the real, like, some people would say the real game of Monopoly is not the rules of Monopoly, but the negotiation that happens on top of those rules where you'll say, hey, you have
Yeah.
Park Place, I have, these other 3 properties. How about I trade my 3 properties for your 1 property, and we switch and da 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 da, and we do these trades, negotiations, right? And that's all fine. That's great, and we can learn from that, right? We can learn how to do trades and negotiations. Wonderful.
Mm.
But it's still limited within that space, right?
Yeah.
Still just a part of the game. We played the game, we cry because we lost. You know how kids are, right? There's winners and losers, and
Yeah.
oh, she won the game but not me. And then we go on and we have dinner, and right, they learned what they learned and we move on.
Yeah.
Now, a role-playing game
Mm-hmm.
breaks all those boundaries. A role-playing game says, here you are, you have a role in an imaginative story world that we've created. We set up the story in the beginning so that there's one of these ill-structured problems to solve.
Mm.
Maybe, the king has, lost their favorite pet, or you're wandering through the forest in search of a magical city of gold, or you're lost in space, and you find your spaceship comes across a strange new planet that isn't there on the star charts, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, right? We can imagine some interesting fantasy or science fiction story, or even a story in the real world, if you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and whatever it is, you start with a problem, and then every
Mm-hmm.
character, every student or player of the game has a character in that story, and those
Mm-hmm.
characters have some traits. Take Harry Potter as an example. We know
Okay.
that Harry is very, very brave and loyal. Okay, but Hermione, now she's the one who's really good with the books and the knowledge, right? Oh, and Ron, now he's really funny. He may not be so good at the magic, but he's really good in social situations, maybe, or
Yes.
certain
Yeah.
social situations. Not very good at sports, but anyway, you know what I mean. So
Yes.
then we can say, okay, how can these kids use what they're good at to
Mm.
solve the problem of the philosopher's stone, or the Chamber of Secrets, or whatever? And instead of having that story told to us by someone else, as in a movie or a book, we do that. We say, I want to try this. And there's a person sometimes called a game master. There are actually a number of different names. It's basically
Mm.
a moderator or facilitator. And they'll help us to go from, I'll try that, to find out if it works or it doesn't, or we have a mixed result of some kind. They'll help us to take the story forward, and they'll also play all the secondary roles. Like, in Harry Potter, that might be Snape, Dumbledore, Hagrid. All of those are supporting roles, and those would be
Mm-hmm.
played by the game master
Mm-hmm.
and the
All
bad
right.
guys.
So, do you think role playing is a good substitute uh, the bedtime stories whenever the parent is a little tired of
Yeah,
creating a story altogether? Do you think role playing is a good substitute for that?
absolutely. You know, different parents have different needs. If you're tired,
Mm-hmm.
then perhaps what you want is a story where you don't have to think too much. You just read the book. You know what I mean? In a role-playing game, you're gonna have to think, and you're gonna have to trust your own creativity. And for
You
a
know,
lot of parents, that
mm,
can be difficult.
it
Um,
can be difficult, but there are a lot of parents who actually have to create new stories because they run out of stories, and children want a new story every day.
yes,
So
yes,
instead of telling a new story, they could turn it into a role play for them. What do you
yes.
think?
So this is how you do that. So suppose you're at home and you're feeling not tired, but tired of reading the same books again, again and again and again. And you have this moment with your child, and your child is 4 years old or older, and you want to have a really nice evening experience with them, and you know that you're going to stay awake on your phone for another 2 hours anyway. You're not going to
Yeah.
sleep right away, right? um, right. So,
Yeah. Yes.
so you're like, okay, look, I'm not, my brain is active, I really need a different activity here. So
Yeah.
you're like, how about we do a role-playing game? And you ask your
Mm.
kid, what's a kind of story that you really like? And they'll pick something. Maybe I mentioned Harry Potter earlier.
Yeah.
Whatever. Think now, parents. Whatever your child really enjoys. Think of what that story is. You probably know it, right?
Mm.
Now imagine if your child could have their own adventures in that world. They could be Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
They could be Winnie the Pooh. They could
Yes.
be, what's his name, Chota Beam. They could be those characters.
Yeah, yeah.
But don't limit them to that.
Mm.
Say, would you like to create your own Hogwarts student, your own Indian demigod, your own animal in the 100-acre wood, I think it's called, or whatever story your kids like. Allow
Mm.
your child to create their own characters. You might be surprised. They might make an
Mm.
Indian demigod robot, or they
Or a
might make,
unicorn. They
yeah,
love
unicorn.
unicorns.
Yeah. You'll find that they surprise you.
Yeah.
Okay. Or they might say, yes, I want to be Iron Man. That's it. I'm just Spider-Man. I'm whatever. That's fine too. Then, if they want to create their own character, let them do that. Sometimes they'll say, oh yes, I'm Superman and I can fly and I'm super strong and nothing can hurt me. And you might think, all right, well, that maybe they won't have much problem solving problems with all those powers, but let's see how it goes. Maybe you can think of things like kryptonite, which give
Or,
them some limits also. So try to
mm-hmm.
negotiate some limits and costs and difficulties for them. That would be meaningful. If not, you can always, like in Superman, often it's not like, we're not afraid that Superman will get hurt. We're afraid
Mm-hmm.
that Metropolis will be destroyed,
Yeah.
or that
Yes.
Lois Lane will be hurt, and you
Yeah.
can sort of outsource these difficulties onto other people that your heroes
Yeah.
have to protect.
Yes.
So in those cases, you take your character in the story, you give them a problem, and watch what they do. See how they try to solve it.
All right. So last summer, David, we played the Dream Walker, your game, the
Yeah,
game that
that's
you
fun.
designed.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it. And I think everybody should know about it because it's a fantastic game, and it's not only for children. Anybody can play this game, and I mean, the moment the day David said that I have a game and would you like to play it, I was thrilled. I was like, yeah, you can play a game. It never occurred to me that you can play a game and learn at the same time. Uh, Please, David, tell us something about Dreamwalker.
Okay, so Dreamwalker is the name of my game that I have designed.
Yeah.
It's called Dreamwalker, I think, because when I imagine people playing this game, I think the role play experience, we could call it a game, and
Mm-hmm.
it is a game, um, but it's also not like a game in some other ways, right? In some ways, like for example, when do you end it? You end it when you want to end it.
Yeah.
It's not like when you've scored so many points, then there's no scoring of points. There's also no real competition in this game. It's a cooperative
Yes.
game,
Yeah.
where everyone, even the game master, or I call him the dream master. That's me. I have several. I play with different words for these roles, but when you have these people together, even though maybe I'm the dream master, I'm giving you some challenges.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to win. I'm trying to make life interesting.
Mm.
So when I played with the students, at that time we were playing on a table in the real world.
Yeah.
um,
Yes.
and so I went ahead, beforehand I printed out like 1,000 cards with art on them. Every card had a different
I
drawing.
still have a pack of your prints. Yeah.
Yeah. I should have gotten them. I just didn't, because I'm using online stuff now. I didn't think to bring them so I could show you right now. But anyway, I have them in my house. And so I would put these on the table and say, you see this castle, and then you see this skeleton, and then you see this, this is one of the rooms in the castle. And I would put them down, and and then you go here and you go there, and now you see this thing, and I arranged them kind of like a map on the board on the table there. And the
Mm-hmm.
students were so excited to, oh, I want to go there. Oh, I want to open that door. Oh, I want to explore, over here. And they were so excited to use their magical powers and their, and to explore this fantasy world that we had created together. And they just had a lot of fun. And at the
Yes.
same time, they learned, these skills that we've been talking about solving problems, about developing a kind of a positive heroic identity.
Yes.
But one skill I didn't mention yet was the skill of creative leadership and teamwork.
Hmm.
So different students had characters with different abilities. One of them had an invisibility ring, like you get in The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. And when you put it on, you become invisible.
Yeah.
And that wasn't useful for all situations, but it was useful for some very important situations. And so when those situations came, he took the leadership role. He said, I'll do it. I'll go out there and I'll solve this problem.
Yeah.
Another girl, she was good at something else.
Hmm.
So she would take the leadership role in that situation. And that's how leadership is really in our world, right? I mean, we have big
Yes.
famous leaders and everybody sees them. But like even the presidents nowadays who are saying, oh, everybody please stay home, stay safe. They're actually following when they say that. They're following the advice of the scientists who are the true leaders, who really know, they have the knowledge, and they tell us what to do.
Yeah.
So that's an example of how leadership is a complex thing. And from a young age, through a game like this, the small children, the young children, not so small necessarily anymore, can really learn those skills, I think ahead of time.
Ahead of time,
It might be
absolutely ahead of
otherwise
time.
difficult for them to learn at this age.
Yes, yes. There is also an element of creative writing in your game, David. Can you please tell us a little bit more about creative writing and how you bring in creative writing and language learning skills and marry it to the game? It's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for asking that, because that's something I struggled for a long time with in terms of how to do that in the beginning. I really worked hard on this question. When I first became introduced to role-playing games, it all happened, at the table. Like it was a thing that we would get together, we would do it, and then we would go away. And for example, sometimes we ran out of time. We were in the middle of a really interesting situation, and then time was up. And this is another reason why I call it Dreamwalker, because it's like a dream. You're in the middle of that really interesting part of your dream, and suddenly you wake up and it's over, and you can't go back. And so role-playing games can be like that sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I came up with this solution that really works for me. And that is, like, when I'm in one of these situations, I no longer tell the students, okay, we'll stop here and continue here next time. Instead, I say, okay, well, let's finish this at home. Okay, each one of you, please take this beginning of, it's not the whole story, it's just that one part of the story. It's one scene in the story, right? We've started the scene. Now you guys have to finish it at home. Tell me how this scene concludes. And then, write it down. And the next time we play, we will, read these different short stories that you've written, about a page or two long. Don't give kids too much pressure. Just let it be short, but complete, right? So that we sense, oh yeah, okay, that's what could happen next. Very often you'll find that even though different people are writing different versions of these stories of what could happen next, they actually usually fit together quite nicely. And if they don't, we can say, all right, let's pick one when we come together. Let's read them all. Each student will read one, and then we'll pick which one we like. Another thing that we can do is, on days when we end on a more complete note, like we've just finished one scene and we're about to start a new one, I'll often ask the students, okay, what are some of the different things that you think might be here? For example, in one of my recent online classes, the students had just discovered an underground home as part of the maze that they're traveling through. There's some kind of underground home, and it sounds like somebody's having dinner inside. So I asked them, who do you think the guests are? Because in my preparation for the class, I have some guests that I can use. That's not a problem. But I wonder if I like their guests even better than mine, right? So I asked them to create some characters. In a sense, I'm lending them my duties. The game master is responsible for all the other characters, but I'm lending that out to them for a while to see what they do. Sometimes their ideas are better than mine. Who's there? And it's a table where they're going to be eating dinner. What are they eating? If they say just, roti and dull. We all know that. I wonder if we can make it more interesting, right? Some interesting foods. I'm sure that they'll surprise me. They're children. And also, in the book, it says that there are strange rules of etiquette in this house. So what are the rules of eating etiquette, I wonder, and what are the ways that you might accidentally make a faux pas and get make everybody will be shocked that you drank the tea before you ate the chicken or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they have some rules like that in their culture, and so you can have this kind of these interesting situations. So that's what I asked them to do, and so far I'm quite pleased with their answers. It doesn't always have to be the same kind of challenge, right? Some challenges will be like, how do you fight the monster? But other challenges will be, how do you negotiate the awkward dinner?
Also, I remember
they're all animal people, and
yes,
one has the head of a horse, and that one has the head of a monkey. What do you do? And everybody's laughing, and we've got stupid, silly rules that don't make sense. You have to tap 3 times before you speak. Whatever, I don't know. It's just funny, and so kids have a lot of time, and they really learn important skills in the process.
Yeah. And not everybody can become a game master, that's for sure. I mean, somebody needs to have that kind of energy and ideas. But there are many parents who are watching us today, and there are many teachers who are watching us today.
Oh, good. That's
good. So is there any way that that you could tell us, maybe by an example? Maybe
sure.
you and I can play one and show our participants today, our viewers, to how they can go about doing a role play.
Great. All right. Well, then, if you don't mind, I would like to share my screen here in a minute. If to sort of illustrate, how I do it in my classes, with some of the visual aids that I have.
But before we go there, David, just quickly in a minute, if you can answer.
Sure.
Last year, when we played this game with you during the summer vacation, and hopefully this year also we're going to play this online with you this summer vacation.
Yeah.
You had talked about taking stress and good stress, and that stress is good.
There we go.
Can you just tell a little bit about it? Because we always say that, oh, it's so stressful, this stress and that stress. The word stress is itself very stressful.
Yeah.
You spoke about good stress. So please, could you please elaborate on that?
Sure. Okay, yeah. One of the things that you'll probably struggle with as you do more role play with children, anyone really, I've role played a lot with adults too, and we have a great time together.
Yeah.
Adults are capable of more complex role play than children are, but children are capable of a lot more than you think. So it's interesting. Stress is always a part of role play. And by that I mean good stress. And good stress might be a new concept, but it really does exist. Take this as an example. Have you ever wondered why all the stories begin with a problem? Right? Whenever you read a book, you might have some introduction. When you read The Hobbit, for example, I'm studying Hobbit with some of my students. It starts, in a hole in the ground there was a hobbit, and it describes a very nice, room, a very nice house that the hobbit lives in, and sort of an underground home built into a small hill. But very soon, a wizard comes to his door, and starts telling him that he should go on an adventure. And the hobbit, the small man, says, no, I don't like adventures. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Come for tea tomorrow, if you like. And the wizard smiles, and he makes a mark on the door. He says, "Yep, I got you now." And immediately this is a story about difficulty and adventure. This is the part where you get excited. As long as everything's happy and peaceful, we think, okay, all right, get on with it. But once the stress comes, that, for the characters, when the characters become unhappy, that's when we become happy and interested. Now, why is that? Right? In our personal lives, we don't like to have stress. We don't want more of it.
Yeah.
And yet, when we remember those times from our past where we learned a lot, very often those were stressful times where, now I know I'm contradicting myself here, right? I said before that we should be happy, and now I'm saying we should be stressed. And you see, there's the balance, isn't it? Right? We need a little bit of both. And what's the environment where we can create that kind of happy stress? Like, think of a time when you were really focused on learning something, maybe practicing your guitar, and really loving the sound of the instrument as it vibrates the air and it rings in your ears, and you're so focused. That's a kind of stress too. There are hormones in your body, right? When we have these stress hormones, there's one called oxytocin, which you've probably heard of. It's the love.
Yes.
When we feel love, we feel oxytocin. So right now, I just have to think of my wife and my kids, and I think, oh yeah, there's that oxytocin. I can recognize that feeling in my body that I have, and that chemical makes us social. Actually, it makes us we feel like we want to go and hug somebody, interact with somebody, and then that feeling will reach a completion. Kind of like hunger makes us want to eat, and then we eat and we feel complete, right? Then, like all these different kinds of stress, there's another kind of, feeling where you want to solve that problem, and then you do it and you feel great. That's an example of good stress. And we want to create that in our learning experiences,
Yeah.
And even though our characters may be suffering in the role play, they're not happy, but we are, just like in a story. And anyway, we're real. They're not. They're parts. I guess they're real because they're parts of us, but they're, like we're still happy and we're still learning.
All right. So can we start? Can we start our role play? Yes, I'm ready. And I think I'll also ask all our viewers to be ready, because I might need your help also.
Okay, good. Very good.
All right.
Good. So I'll share my screen.
All right.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And then let's see how to do this. I'm following my procedure that I do to get it to work. Okay, good. So this is my iPad. And I've got here on my iPad, I've got a few different, I'm using a mouse. You can use your mouse on an iPad now. And I've got some of my students' homework here from the class that I had today. These are that I asked them to write. You can see, this is sort of what it looks like. If they make a spelling mistake or something like, I don't understand one part, I can highlight it. You can see here, and here, and I can highlight, whatever I want to do. We can have these short, simple discussions about, about the words. The focus of the class isn't about that, but anyway, that's there. So I thought I would show you. Down here, I've got some pictures of some lovely ladies. We talked before earlier today about what kind of role play we might like to do for our guests, and we chose something like Harry Potter. And so I asked you, Vaishali, 2 questions. I said, please pick 2 characters in Harry Potter that you really enjoy.
Yeah.
What did you answer? Do you remember?
Hagrid and Hermione.
Yes, Hagrid and Hermione. Because we're creating a new character for this story, and this is one of the processes that we have for creating a character. So then I'll think, okay, these 2 characters. Please choose, some descriptive words that you like for these 2 characters. And you said Hermione was witty, right?
Witty and intelligent.
Witty and intelligent.
And yeah.
And what about Hagrid?
Hagrid was full of heart and very trusting. He would trust anybody.
Right.
Like very gullible, I would say. Yeah.
But that's part of his being full of heart, right?
Yeah.
So I went on the internet and I found some of these. This is one of the things I love about the internet. I can very quickly come up with really interesting pictures. And I chose this one. I hope you like it. It seems to me that this is a girl, a student at Hogwarts, who we haven't seen before in any of the Hogwarts stories. And I don't know her name. You can give her a name. Oh, yes, you did. What was her name?
Armanda.
Yes.
Yeah, Armanda.
Good.
Yeah.
She looks like she might be a little bit Indian. And she is at once very witty, and she knows a lot, just like Hermione does.
Yeah.
But she's also full of heart, just like Hagrid. Okay, she combines the qualities of these two characters together in one, and maybe she's a little gullible too. And maybe she's a giant, or I guess Hagrid is a half giant.
Yes.
Maybe she's several feet taller than everybody, all the other students.
Yeah, she looks big for. I mean,
Yes.
she has a big head. Seems.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she looks like a Hogwarts student to me. So all right. So this is you. Okay. So so what we'll do is I have this app that I use with my students here, and we'll just put her into, make that a little bigger so you can see. We'll put her into our story here. I'll find her here, and I'll add her here, and then ta-da, there she is. Okay. And so now let's say that you are here in Hogwarts, and you are walking down the halls of the school, and you come across, this is a hall. Sorry. Okay, everybody. This is a door. This is a door. This is just little symbols that I've made up. Here's another hall going off. Whatever. Okay. Just imagine. And you come across another student who she's one of those girls in the school who is very popular. Everybody likes her, and but she doesn't do very well in school. Let's see. I have some pictures here of other students. I'll just pick one. How about this? Yeah, that'll do. And there we go. Yeah, I make that transparent, and then I can put her in there, and I can shrink her down. And she comes up to you and she says, "Hi, Armanda. I have something I want to show you. Can you come with me?"
Sure.
Yeah. Now,
see, I'm gullible, so I'll just say sure. I trust her.
Yeah. So actually, let's flip her around. There she goes. So now she's looking at you. So she's saying, yeah, okay, come this way. And of course, you follow. Oops, I have to put that in the background. Just give me a second here. Put that to the back. Okay, there we go. Now I can move you. And so you're following her along, and you're going along with her, and she takes you outside the school. Over here, there's like a big open space, and I have this idea of this scene from the movie. You might remember Harry Potter 1. There's a place where they go out.
Yes, to practice flying.
To practice flying, right?
Yes,
That's where I imagine this scene happening. So just imagine you're stepping out of this this environment here, okay? And that's where we are. And you both are coming down here, and you're standing right outside there. In fact, let's move this to the back as well, so that there we go. Now we can put you on top. So so you're all back there, and you're all walking along, and outside here, as soon as you step out the door, there she is. Her.
Oh my God.
She is the bully. She's the one who, she's the leader of her little group. And of course, she's gorgeous. And of course, she knows it. And of course, she wants to make fun of the giantess, right? And so she points her wand at you as soon as you come out. And she says, "Wingardium Leviosa." And you realize finally that you've been lured into a trap. And she's lifting you up into the air with her magic spell, and she wants to turn you upside down. And you know how embarrassing that would be when you're wearing a skirt, right?
Yeah.
We don't want that to happen. So I wonder, are you going to let her do that to you, or
no?
Okay.
I know a spell because I'm intelligent. My spell would be Expelliarmus. So I will say Expelliarmus as soon as I go up. So I will levitate for some time, and then I'll.
Okay, good. So she catches you off guard and levitates you in the air, but you want to prevent her from turning you upside down, right? So here she's laughing when she does this. She wants to humiliate you in front of everybody, but you're not going to let her do that. All right. So now this is a situation which parents might run into, where you're kind of wondering, should you let it work or not? Like, should you let the child, succeed or not? And there might be some times where you're like, okay, yeah, you do it. You say Expelliarmus. By the way, for those of you who aren't familiar with Harry Potter, Expelliarmus is the spell which expels. It disarms
It
the
disarms. Yeah.
wand.
Yeah.
So it makes
Yeah.
the wand fly out of their hand, and it cancels whatever magic they're doing.
Yeah.
So you want to use that to make her wand fly away, and then you would come back down to the ground again. I'm kind of torn. On one hand, I want to see you succeed because I'm your fan. I'm not your enemy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not competing with you.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, I know that stories do well when we have more trouble. And I don't necessarily want you to be humiliated just like that. But at the same time, I want there to be more problems, So
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, what should we do next? Now, I have a little game which I call redigo, and I pretend it's an Italian word, but it's really just redigo, pronounced, like redigo. You roll the R. I like it. It's my word. So it's my game.
Yeah.
It's sort of the game within the game. It's a
Mm.
guessing game. So what we'll
Okay.
do is
Mm-hmm.
you'll pick a number, and I'll pick a number, and we'll see if they match.
Okay.
Okay. And we can do this with our hands. We can go ready, go, ready, go. But we're
Okay.
online, so that works a lot better in real life than it does online
All right.
because like there's a slight delay. So
Yeah.
since we're online, I'm going to use my very special dice app that I have. Let me just restart that and make it work again. Here we go. All right. It's called Dice Bag. And I'm going to roll a die. All right. And we'll see what it is. All right. So please pick a number and we'll roll this magic die that I have. What's it going to be? I pick a number from 1 to 6.
Mm.
If you're playing at home, you can also use 0.
Okay. Do I pick a number and say it, or do I
Pick it out loud.
keep it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I pick 5.
You pick 5. All right. Let's see what it is. It's a 2. Oh, goodness. So that's not a match. It's not even close. If you had picked, if I had rolled a 4 or a 6,
Mm-hmm.
or if you had picked a 1 or a 3,
Mm-hmm.
then that would be better. That would be close at least. If you match exactly, that's the best result. Close is kind of sort of a mixed result, and what you've got here is far. So this lets me give you some more trouble. Okay. But the story isn't over. The scene isn't over here. You are not, how do I say? You're not, how do I say? You're one of the good students in the class. You know your magic spells, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just said that you're witty and you're really good at school, right? So what we'll do is we will give you another chance to succeed because of that. We'll give you another one of these dice. All right?
Okay.
In fact,
Okay.
let's just re-roll this one that we have. See if you get a 5. Come on. Ah, a 3. It's still far.
It's still far.
Yeah. Can you think of any other helpful factor here that helps you in this situation?
I can ask my friend to help me, the one who got me over here.
That is a good idea. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at right here is this girl. I don't have a name for her.
Nancy?
Nancy. Okay.
Yeah, Nancy.
Pick Nancy. Okay. Her name is Nancy. And she is feeling really guilty right now, I bet. Right?
Mm-hmm.
She's not a horrible human being. She seems happy, but she's not really. She just feels a lot of pressure from her. She's afraid that if this student, I forgot her name already, if she will, she might do something like this to her, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, she doesn't want it to happen to you. So I like that. Yeah. Let's roll this dice again and see what we get.
All right.
What she's going to do is she's going to say, oh, wait, or maybe, the way that she brought you out here seemed a little suspicious. Even though you're gullible, you got a clue that something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see if that helps you. Aha, it's better.
Yes.
4. All right. So you can re-roll this die, or you can play this game with your hands up to 4 times in total. So we could maybe do this one more. Are there any other advantages you can think of, or is that it?
I think that's it.
I
get a hang of it, and I'm sure our
Our
viewers
parents
get
get
a
it
hang
too?
of how this is going to go.
All
Yeah,
right.
I think
So
this is
so
cool.
you've got
Yeah,
this 4, which is close to 5,
yeah.
but it's not a perfect outcome. So what we'll do is we'll say that yes, you disarm her, okay?
Okay,
Her wand goes flying. It's successful, but
okay,
there's another problem, okay? And
okay.
that is that someone is watching, okay? And
Hmm.
someone sees as you fall to the ground. It's not as embarrassing as it could have been,
Hmm.
but maybe it still doesn't feel good, right? Who do you think
Hmm.
is watching? We have these. I have a picture of some other girls here. Do you think it's some other girls watching? Maybe these
Yeah.
could be. Is
Oh,
there
yeah.
anybody that you wish, like anybody that you think might be watching? That you think maybe it's a teacher or something else?
Could be a teacher, or could be a boy, a little boy, or a
Ooh,
junior
boy,
from
junior.
the school. Yeah.
All right, let's add that in too. I happen to have a picture of a little boy. This one. Now, this one, he does have a little scar on his
Oh,
head. He
and
looks a
he.
little bit too much like Harry Potter. Please
Yeah.
forgive that. He is not Harry Potter, okay?
Okay.
This is some
Okay.
other little boy. So he's watching, and he's a boy that, I mean, you like him. I mean, not like him.
Yeah.
He's too small for that. But he's one of your friends, and you don't want him to see this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what he does? He comes up. He says, "Hey, stop bullying her. You're just a
Mm.
big bully." Right? And she is much more powerful than him.
Ah, yes.
And he's coming up to her, and he's standing up for you. But you
Mm.
realize, as you stand up, you realize he can't win. She's gonna,
Mm.
and she's going to humiliate him now. What do you do?
Mm. Um.
While you're thinking about that, let me just point out to my parents here. So
Yeah.
you succeeded, you got what you wanted, but there was a twist, right? It's not necessarily bad, right? It's just
Mm.
more adventure, right?
Mm.
More story. Now there's another problem. So what do you
I
think?
would team up with him,
Okay.
and we would say I mean cast a spell, but that would be like a double spell, like it will have double power because both of us say the same thing at the same time.
Okay.
And this
What's the
little
spell?
uh it can be Crucio.
Oh my gosh. Really? Oh, oh, you get in big trouble for that. Oh wow. So parents,
Okay, it could
you
be
just
eat slugs.
eat slugs. Oh, okay, that one. Yeah, okay, that's better. Parents who don't know, Crucio is a spell that causes great pain, and
Yeah.
it's totally not allowed. If
All
any
right.
wizard professors see you, you'd be in big trouble for using that.
Yeah, yes.
Um, but yeah, so there's another spell that just makes slugs come out of your throat and your mouth,
Yeah.
and it's pretty
Yeah.
terrible. But it's not totally forbidden. So that one instead, right? Okay,
Hmm.
all right.
Hmm.
So yeah, so let's see. So let's look at this again. And let's see. You get 1 die for free because you're trying it. You get
Mm-hmm.
1 die because he's helping you. You
Mm-hmm.
get another die because of being witty. Is there anything
Mm-hmm.
else to see if that works?
Um
Anything else that's helpful? I think that's it. What do you think?
that's it. Yeah. I have
Okay.
access to um a bag, and I
Okay.
can pull out anything I want from the bag.
Hmm. But you don't. Well, I mean, it's like a magic bag, right?
Yeah, it's a magic bag, but it's not in me. It's not a part of me. It's just
Okay.
a bag that I have. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Hermione has a bag like that in one
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
later Harry Potter books. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
does that help you in this situation right now?
I don't know if I have to throw a stone at her. Maybe it helps, but I don't want to hurt anybody at
Yeah.
the
You're
moment.
not
So
throwing stones. You're.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I'll be. Yeah, I know. I want to, but I can't. I won't.
You sure? That makes sense that
Yeah.
you want to, but you
Yeah.
wouldn't because I mean, ouch, it would hurt. But it
Yeah.
would be
Yeah. I
really,
won't like the feeling. Yes.
yeah, right. Okay. So again, what we're doing now is we're using this chance before we play to find out how many
Mm-hmm.
times we'll play. And we're kind of
Mm-hmm.
negotiating what's really going on so that you and I are
Mm-hmm.
both clear, right?
Mm-hmm.
got your wands, you're casting the spell, you're not throwing stones, you know that, you'll probably succeed, but you might not, right? And so we're getting some sense of that. So pick a number, please, from 1 to 6.
2.
Or if you're playing with hands, from 0 to 5. Okay,
2.
2. All right.
Can we play with hand for this one?
Sure. Yeah,
All
why
right.
not? We can try it. Yeah. So I've tried this before online, and it's been confusing, but we can try it. Are you ready? So say it with me.
All right.
My number, and parents can see how it goes at home. Don't pick. Well, you can pick 2 if you want, but when you're playing with the hands, don't say the number. It's sort of like rock, paper, scissors. You just say ready, and then on go. You show your number, whatever it is. It could be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Okay.
Okay.
You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Ready, go. Showing 2. What's your number? 4.
4.
Okay, but don't forget, you get 3 tries altogether. The first one is 3. You get 2 more. Ready, go. What's your number?
2.
2. Okay, try again. Last time.
Okay.
Ready,
go.
Oh. Okay. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it doesn't work. So let me show you what happens. What do you do when your kid fails at Redigo? Okay, well, all 3 times they're far away or whatever it is. They just don't get any luck. Don't make life hell for them. Just add more complications. Okay.
Okay.
So you're together casting the spell, but the boy is young, and like Ron in Harry Potter Book 2, he's broken his wand.
Yeah.
And he casts the spell, and it backfires on him.
Yeah.
And he like, it shocks him. He falls back, and he.
Oh my God! Don't make me eat slugs now.
Not you, just him, because your wand is not broken, right?
All right.
Now what do? They're all laughing at him. What are you gonna do? So what I've done now is it's kind of a failure. It's a setback for sure. You didn't get the effect that you wanted, but I'm also careful. Maybe suppose you're a young person. I'm afraid that you might become sad if I put this on you. I have to judge my child. I have to not judge my child. That's the wrong word. I have to judge the emotional state. I have to perceive. That's a better word. I have to perceive the emotional state of my kid. And so if she's not really ready for me to give her more difficulty personally, to say that, okay, now you're coughing up slugs, then I can have that happen to her friend instead. And then that becomes a question of, now what do you do? How do you help your friend?
Yeah.
And we can continue the story. I think probably that's enough for our parents.
This is a lot for our parents to understand, and for the teachers to understand how they could play.
Good. So parents, homework, finish the story at home, everybody. That's what I would.
What I would ask is, can the parents use like homemade cards? Like, everybody is in a lockdown situation right now. I have a question over here. We don't have many questions, but we have one question which is very, very important for these times right now. It's basically their moods are changing, the demands are changing. Children are too much, they're glued to their mobile phones, and now they're glued to their laptops also because of online schooling. How can a parent, by using minimum or minimal resources at home, play this game? So I think you can always play it with objects. You can always play it with handmade, hand cut paper. You don't have to play it like online like this.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, you can just sit on your table and play. Yeah.
My kids both like to draw things. So my older son, he's 9 years old. He'll draw all his characters himself. Both of them actually like to craft things as well. If you have any Play-Doh at home, that's an excellent tool for crafting little figures. Legos, any kind of crafting activity. If you have boxes, maybe you're ordering things. You've got your essentials. You're ordering soaps and whatever, and they all come in boxes and delivered. cut the
David,
cardboard.
David, you have to
Yeah.
stop sharing your screen. I can't see you.
Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah. Thank
All
you
right.
for reminding me.
Yeah. Yes.
Is that better?
Yeah, this is better. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thanks. Where was I? Yes. So you can take the cardboard and you can cut it up and glue it together. You can, if your printer, if you've got enough paper at home, you can print out these, maps or
Yeah.
whatever sort of visuals you want to have. You can print them on the spot just like that.
Mm.
You can still use Google
Mm.
to find interesting things. Or you can just draw on a piece of paper. Take some crayons and say, okay, this brown part, that's the castle. This green part, that's the grass.
Yeah.
This red circle, that's the bully girl. This
Yeah.
black circle, that's the boy. You don't. It doesn't have to be complicated. Take some chess pieces, and say, okay, this queen, that's the bully. Oh no, you're the giantess, so you're the queen. And this horse, that's the bully girl, or whatever.
Or you can take medicine bottles. I think.
Medicine bottles.
Yeah, medicine bottles are amazing.
Yeah. Sure. Use whatever you have at home, whatever your
Yeah.
child likes. Your child might have a favorite toy.
Yeah.
You would like to play the role of that toy. Back, we used to live in China, and we had this really cool like Pegasus toy from that show, My Little Pony. And it was just so cool. She had like the awesome colored wings. That would have been a great like role play character, and we could use that, use the whole room as our castle, and we can explore different parts of it. This crafting and environment creation can take a lot of time, and it can be a lot of fun. And you'll find, I think, that kids can enjoy that as much, maybe even more than the role play itself. And they'll say, oh, Mom, I want to use this bag as my magic bag with all my things in it. And you'll be like, yeah, and it'll be really fun.
Yeah, it will be. And I think during the period of lockdown, playing a game like this will really help, because it somehow these games, especially the one that you play, Dreamwalker, it helps in transporting you to a different world, which is, and for that 1 hour that we used to play, we used to be transported to a different world altogether and feel so free. I think role playing can actually teleport us literally to in our minds, and it's a great imagination exercise. I think all parents and all teachers should do this, should try this.
Sure. And it's a way that you can get out of the house without getting out of the house. We like if you just close your eyes and you imagine a teddy bear, even though you can't see the teddy bear with your eyeballs, brain creates that image just as if you had seen the teddy bear.
Yeah. Also smell. It happens with smell. True. It happens with taste.
Yes, you remember your mother's cooking, and your brain activates that smelling center.
Yeah.
Yes. So when you pretend to be a wizard, you are a wizard in some sense. When you pretend to be out of the house, you are out of the house. As far as your child's concerned, that's a real experience. Now, they also know it's a pretend experience, but just like Dumbledore says in Harry Potter, just because it's in your head doesn't mean it isn't real.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah, like Picasso also said, everything you imagine is real.
Yes. It's just real in a certain way.
Yes.
Right? Now, I think some parents may have some other troubles. Okay, some of the difficulties may come up that I would like to address, if you don't mind. May I?
Sure.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, one possibility is that the child might play for a little while and then say, "Can we watch TV now?"
Yeah.
That's fine. When that happens, don't be disappointed. Just say, I don't know, it depends on how much TV they've watched. You know what their limits are. Just say yes or no, but don't feel like you have to continue this activity for hours and hours and hours. Let it go as long as it goes, and then stop. Have them, if you finish the scene, then that's a great stopping point. Stop there. No problem. Go do other things also. If you haven't finished the scene and the child is tired for some reason, they often don't know why they're tired. Maybe they're just creatively tired, or maybe they're addicted to TV, whatever it is, right? All these things do happen. let it go, and ask the child to, can you draw those characters? Can you write that story of what happens next? Can you, create some more characters that we can see next time? Whatever kinds of creative work, encourage them to do that for a while, and then come back to the role play later. You can even set a certain time in the day, which is the role play time.
Role play time, yeah.
Yeah, and that would be very helpful.
Yeah, I think role play should be a part of the curriculum in schools too.
I think so too.
They should be doing at least an hour of role playing every day, and not just for little babies in the play school. This is something which I completely disagree with, that you cannot role play and still keep building your skills at this age, like that you and I are in. So I think it's very important to keep doing role plays. But there is a question that is again very pertinent for right now, this time, is that online role playing can take a lot of screen time, for the kids. What do you think about that? I mean, how much, what percentage of your time during your role playing is actually screen time? And also, this is active screen time. We're talking about you talking, we listening, and then we are doing something. Maybe you ask us to draw something. And how much? What do you think about it?
Sure. So there are two problems with screen time, as far as I can tell. One of the problems is the how do you say that the screen is a kind of a bright light, and it's very close to your eyes.
Yeah.
So it can damage your eyes if you have too much of it. Your kids who spend a lot of time looking at things very up close, especially when those things have a lot of brightness in the eyes. It can cause the eyes muscles, which focus things, to get weakened and relaxed, and so their eyes get poor. So yes, my classes that I teach now don't go longer than an hour and a half with the older kids. Well, that's not true. Sometimes we're all having a fun time, and I have time, so I extend it to an hour and 45 minutes. But with younger kids, I try to keep it down to an hour. Sometimes I extend that to an hour and 15 minutes. But I'm concerned that children looking at the screen for too long isn't good. I do prefer, generally speaking, to have these classes in the real world, mainly for that reason. But having these classes and doing role play online is so good and so much
this
fun.
Looks very nice, because
it's worth it.
I mean, an animation movie or something, the way you played the game.
Yeah. These other advantages make up for that. It's a real disadvantage what you're talking about. But there are other good things too. So so I devote some of my child's screen time to this kind of activity for sure. It's worth it. It's a cost, and it's real. The other downside of screen time is that it's passive, usually.
Watching, usually.
Obviously, that isn't here. We don't have that problem with role play. Even when you're listening and you're not saying anything, you gotta pay attention, and you really want to, right? Because it's fun to listen to people when they're talking.
Absolutely.
I mean, I hope all of you felt how much fun it was to listen to Vaishali go, through these problems of being bullied again at school. You wouldn't want to really be bullied in real life, but to have this kind of experience is actually really nice.
Yeah, I wonder what the parents would have opted for instead of putting a spell. I mean, you can write in your comments, what would you
I'd like to hear that too. Yeah. But the parents, here's another problem that you might have. You might have difficulty thinking of twists like I did. Like, this kid is watching. But please remember what I said was, I didn't say, I just had an idea. I thought, somebody's probably watching you, somebody that you care about, right? Maybe these girls or what? And then you said, a boy. And I thought, yeah, of course, a boy. But we don't want romantic in this story because you're too young for that. Wink. And just supposing, right? So when you said a boy, I thought, what if it's a little boy who looks up to you? That's a different relationship, right? So I thought, okay, yeah, that's good. Oh yeah, and then I used it. So ask the child when you've got to give the child more challenges, more difficulties, more problems. Ask them questions like that, where they'll tell you what they think those challenges should be. you know,
Okay.
and they will help you to come up with that. And then you decide what you think is most appropriate for them. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. If they say, no, you can't take my magic bag away, then, sorry. Well, then what would be good? You tell me something else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like that.
One of them is saying invisibility spell.
Yes. Yes, that might have worked. Invisibility spells are difficult, but they can they can be done.
All right, great. I mean, I think the whole idea of role play that we have is that you just look at a story and you portray those characters. Usually, in classroom and school, we very commonly used term is role play. Yes, we are having a role play in class.
Yeah.
But it's good in a way that because you're role
Sure.
playing the characters that you're reading, it always you embodying those characters, so you remember those characters more. But if you can also create some which have different characteristic traits or different habits or different needs and wants and dreams, I think it becomes more real for the child rather than playing somebody else.
Also, kids, they're learning empathy.
Yes.
When there's there are a lot of people in the world that are really hard to understand, right? And one of the ways that we can try to understand them is by playing them, or someone like them, not them exactly, I mean, but playing people like that in a role play story. And I think, trust your kids. Suppose your kid says, oh, I want to play a bad guy. I want to be the evil robot that wants to take over the world. Don't, I mean, maybe you don't want to do that, right? Maybe that's fine. And that's fair. You don't have to do it. But don't think that your child can't tell the difference between good and evil.
Good and bad. Yeah.
They can. If they're saying they want to do something that doesn't feel right, maybe a role play is the experience, the place where they can see for themselves that that's not the right thing to do, and not just hear you tell them what's right and wrong all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a safe environment where they're an evil robot, but there are no real human beings getting hurt here. And you can describe how, yes, you conquer the planet and all the people are so sad. They're like, please give us freedom. What do you do? So then the child can explore that and see what it means for them and what kind of choices they'll make.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. I think with that, we have come to an end of our webinar. And this is for all the viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you, David, for your time, your precious time, and for all your ideas that parents can immediately start applying, because you just need maybe a book and a map.
Yeah.
And a map to start.
All you really need is an imagination.
Yeah, all you need is an imagination. So David will be doing his playing Dream Walker with us this summer. Yes, David, probably we look at playing it this month if you're available.
Sure.
And yeah. And we'll open it out to all our students, all the children who would like to try doing something which is beyond their reality at the moment. Thank you so much, David. Have a blessed night. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Have a good night, all of you. Thank you,
everyone.